have made an offer for a loan move for Pussy from Manchester City. There, I said it. We're after a bit. Yeah, we're after a player. I need to turn myself down. Just can hear myself. Anyway, Celtic have made an offer for the player, and it looks like that he will be one that's been brought up for backup to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Ultimately, as a replacement for Cameron Carter-Vickers, I don't think so. But there's a couple of big questions that we need to ask tonight. There is a bit of news going on. There is a bit of speculation when it comes to Dyson Maeda, and that he has paused contract talks with English Premier clubs looking, and I'm going to tell you what clubs are looking and what clubs may be looking, because there are a couple of deals that, if the deals fall the way that I expect them to, I expect these clubs to then make their move for the Celtic winger. And Brendan Rodgers, how must he feel at this exact moment? The fact that he's coming to the final year of his 3-year contract, and he was asked towards the end of last season, as was Dyson Maeda, about their ongoing contract situation. Now, Dyson said that he just wants to finish the season on a high, and then that will take care of itself in the summer. Brendan Rodgers said, I'm sure it will be an easy conversation to have in the summer. Brendan Rodgers has given us an update on his contract negotiations / chats. He said that he met up with the guys. It was like a boy band reunion. It wasn't really, but just me just saying that just for the banter. Get over it. Brendan Rodgers... Michelle's nuts. Brendan Rodgers did say that he met up with Dermot Desmond and the other members of the board, and they had an interesting chat. And he then said, there's a long way to go in football. There's a long year. A year's a long way away in football. A lot could happen within that year. That's Brendan Rodgers not committing and being fully non-committal. Yeah, exactly. Why spoil it now? Brendan Rodgers will be looking at the way that Celtic have conducted themselves over the current transfer window. Now, we seem to be able to deal with clubs rather efficiently, fastly and productively when it comes to selling our own players. Yes, we set a high price, we stick to that price, and we get the deal done as quick as possible. But when it comes to Celtic actually buying players for the manager at the club, we go in with low offers of $1 million. 2 million. And you could say, you could understand the Celtic going in with low offers. Do you know, yeah, fair play to them. Clubs do it all the time. But when it comes to Celtic, have we been disrespectful, or are we being disrespectful to other clubs when they set out a price which they deem as a fair price? And by I mean that, I'm talking about £5 million. It's not a lot of money. It's a fair amount for a player that's got 2 years left on his contract, whilst we're trying to get top dollar. Now, put that in perspective. Dyson Maeda has 2 years left on his contract. And when the season starts this weekend, Dyson has only 2 years. We're fighting over £2 or £3 million on a player that has 2 years left on his contract. Celtic will want £25 million for Dyson Maeda to leave this summer with only 2 years left on his contract. I bet you the first team that comes in with £20 million offer. Now, we've rejected $8.75 million already this transfer window, but you watch the first team that comes in and slaps down on the table, boom, there's 20 million. There's the talk. That's to get us started. That's to enter the field of play, or whatever they call it on the betting table. Do you know? There's the big bundle of cash. There's a bag for you to take the bundle of cash. We do seem to move really fast when we come to selling players, but bringing them in as replacements, it took us to this part of the window this time last week to bring in Shin Yamada. And if we let go of young Johnny Kenny, either permanently or on loan, it means that we're still in the market for a striker. So, anyway, tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully the Lennon Miller nonsense is put to bed with Bologna throwing their hat in the ring. Yeah, he was always wanting to go to Italy anyway, so that's why I'm not too fussed. And I think if Brendan Rodgers really wanted to play, and I think that it came out as well that Brendan Rodgers and Callum McGregor had both spoken to the player. And I think that that's why Celtic haven't pushed in that direction. The players said, I think the player personally has said to Callum McGregor and to Brendan, look, as much as I'd love to come to Celtic, I see the early part of my career, and you can't blame him. You can't blame him, because you could come to Celtic, you could stagnate as a player, you could win stuff and all the rest of it, and then you end up going down to somewhere like Portsmouth or Crystal Palace or Brentford or some other team in England. And and is that really the highlight of your career? For me, I'm glad that if he does go to Italy, let's face it, there was a Celtic player, a young Celtic player from Edinburgh who left. It was a fantastic prospect, but just couldn't get into the first team. He moved to Italy about 3 years ago, and he's loving life, and he hasn't looked back. For me, get the players. If the players want to go to Italy, if they want to go abroad, if it was my son personally, and as a die-hard Celtic fan that our family is, if you had came through the system, and I know, speaking and talking about younger players, I mean, I can't speak on behalf of them, but I know a family member of mine whose son is ready to burst onto the scene in the SPFL. He's not far off it, and when this guy does, people will go, fucking hell, where did this wee guy from Fife come from? And incidentally, talking about youth, I do digress here, but talking about youth, Heart of Midlothian are signing up young players from Fife like it's going out of fashion. Are Celtic missing something there? Because there's one player coming through at Hearts that is going to be phenomenal. He's going to be a player and a half. And the fact that Hearts are being so active in the Fife market, I think that it's I know that Celtic and Rangers did try to go after one certain youth player coming out of Fife, but he knocked them back. But like I said, if it was my son, I wouldn't go to Celtic or Rangers. If you were at another club, if you were at Hearts, a Hibs, a Motherwell, for instance, a Dundee United, and even an Aberdeen, if you've come through the ranks at a club like that in Scotland, and you've got the opportunity to go abroad at 18, 19, 20, I'd be scalping him on the arse, kicking him out the door and giving him his passport and saying, go, do it. Because you never know when you get the opportunity again. It could be the one and only chance that you get the opportunity. Anyway, let's get back to Celtic and everything Celtic. Another week closer, says Michelle, and not anyone in yet, with other teams closing in on players. So, talking about Michelle penned a little song for the new Celtic fans for the new season. Yes, she has a new Shin Yamada song. It's not that one, it's this one. So this is Michelle's version of Shin Yamada. It's his song, Shin Yamada, da 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 da. He's from Japan, he's now one of us. Quick feet, top class, he's got that spark. Running wild at Celtic Park. Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart. No, I just stop that there. That's Michelle's song. Anyway, thank you for sending me that, Michelle. I thought, I get out of 5 minutes, you can. Been there once enough, says Boy for Benny Offer. Some of the best players that played for Celtic came out of Fife, just saying. Anyway, we move on, we digress, as we always do. So, Dyson Maeda, let's get to the tune of Achy Breaky Heart. At least sing it. No chance. Well, Michelle got booed onto stage and then booed off at Horseshoe Bar karaoke. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it was a tumbleweed moment, Midnight Caller. It's definitely a tumbleweed moment. Anyway, let's get to Dyson Maeda. Right, the reason I want to talk about him is there has been speculation that Dyson Maeda is opening the door to Premier League clubs in England after it's been suggested that he may have paused talk of a new transfer at Celtic. There's a former Man United and Blackburn chief scout who suggested by himself that he's still well connected within the game, that while he's happy to remain at Celtic Park, he will not force a move away. He is reluctant to commit to a long-term contract at this stage of the transfer window. In other words, he's biding his time. He's biding his time to wait to see if another club come calling for Dyson. And what if they do? What if they do? Because there's a club that has been linked with them before. And that club is on the point of selling one of their players. Brentford are about to sell Wissa to Newcastle United. Now they're expected to sell him for over 50 million. They have been linked with Dyson Maeda before. The 28-year-old Brentford player has said that he wants to go to Newcastle United. It is expected that that deal could conclude any day this week, which would give Brentford the extra cash needed to put down a £25 million bid for Dyson Maeda. Now, if all the dominoes fall in the right place, and people say, why would you go to Brentford? Well, why is Dyson Maeda not signing a new contract? Because he knows if someone comes in with more money, I don't care if he's family, and I don't care if people say, oh, do you know, it's now been talked about that he is unprepared to sign a new deal at this point of the transfer window, which means Celtic run the risk of losing Dyson for buttons. If they do not sell him in this window with 2 years left on his contract, and then we go into the end of the window, and he's still thinking, you know what, there was a club there, look at Kyogo. He's on the phone to Kyogo going, Kyogo mate, how much you getting paid down there? How much? Kawasaki. Fuck me. Missus, we're moving. And it's as simple as that. I mean, the players talk to each other and they'll talk about wages and they'll talk about stuff. And, you know, he would have known that Kyogo would have got a bumper pay rise to go to Rennes. He would have got an even bigger bumper pay rise to leave Rennes and go down to England. With players of such a short career, you know, it is no wonder that they hold off. Maeda waiting to see what offer comes in. Stevie Wonder can see that. Yeah, I ken it, you ken it, even Patsy kens it. It's an old joke. Younger ones go, what the fuck are you talking about? Patsy kens it. That was a Simple Minds moment. But I'm here all night. Anyway, that is the speculation that is going around tonight. And I think that if the dominoes do fall in the right order, there is a massive, massive chance that Dyson Maeda will leave. I said it before. I said it last season. I said that why is there, if he's not going anywhere, why is he stopped contract talks? And why has he? Because it's football agents that are talking about it. You know, it's not pure speculation. The guy's a former Man United and Blackburn chief scout. You know, people talk within the game, and if he's not going to go this window, sign the deal. I mean, are they in talks with him? That's Nicholson. He's probably went, oh, fuck, we'll speak to you next month. And they end up losing Dyson Maeda for 10 million. Let's face it, no one thought they would sell Kyogo Furiashi for 10 million. Everyone had Kyogo Furiashi in the £20 million bracket, even though he was 30 years old, and we lost him for 10 million. I think that the same could happen the winter transfer window. I think if there's not a big offer, the big offer will come in for Dyson within the last week of the window. That's my thoughts. As soon as people start seeing him back playing, and you know the interest has been there from certain clubs, it doesn't go away. We sold Kova and never replaced him. Maeda goes and we're fucked. He cannot be replaced. It's not a case that they cannot be replaced. They can be replaced. It's at the speed of which Celtic decide to replace said player. Because, let's face it, Celtic aren't acting on the best of Celtic's interest at the moment. They're looking at the bank balance and thinking, how little money can we spend this summer? Anyway, Jamal Simpson Pussy is this guy here, and he is rated worth £5 million by Manchester City. Celtic have made an offer to take the player on loan. When you look at it, it's fast becoming a transfer window where we're falling far short of valuations that other teams see their players as being. I mean, going in with an initial offer of 1.5 million for a player that's worth 6 million. Now, if Celtic want 25 million for Dyson Maeda, an offer of 15 million could then come in quite easily. And Dyson Maeda could go, I'm interested in that club. It could happen. I mean, going in with 1.5 million for a winger that we want, and we seem to be well down the pecking order now in terms of wingers. We started off looking at wingers at between 5 and 10 million. We're now down to the bare bones and trying to spend like 2 or 3 million on players. The highest offer that we've went to date for the said winger is 3 million, but they want 6.5 million. So we're going up in little increments. We went in at 1.5 million, we then went to 1.75 million. We then went to 3 million over the weekend. And you must be sitting, and I mean, it's like, I mean, could you imagine? I can only compare Nicholson to some mad wee Jakey that's trying to get a bag of proper for like quarter. He's like, mate, I've only got 20. Don't go any good skis at, and I'll give you a rest in fucking 2 weeks' time on Monday, man. Just give me a. Alright, I found another tenner, man. I found another tenner. Going to give me that proper now. No, it's 80, mate. It's 80, right? It's 80. That's it. It's 80. Fucking 80. I'll come back to you on Monday, maybe. Anyway, let's move on for that. In other Celtic news, there's not a lot of Celtic news going on tonight. Celtic would have travelled back from Italy today. Yes, they travelled back from Italy today thinking that they were going to be in a game on Sunday. They weren't in a game on Sunday. They had the final pre-season training session abroad on Sunday instead. Yes, they did have a training session in Como, on the pitch in Como, and before they had a little wee night out, swally as I can. What did they do last night? Did they just go? I hope Brendan just turned around to the team and went, "Fuck it, why just go on the Swally, boys? Fuck it, you've got Monday off, right? We'll just go out in the fucking Swally tonight." And they went out in Como and just fucking got hammered. And it's fucking Brendan Rodgers totally on it with the vino, getting all the boys in a sing song. Callum McGregor going, "Fuck, I didn't drink, mate. I didn't drink, boss." Jamesy Forrest going, "Last time I got hammered, I got my Tadger out." Anyway, I hope they did go out and just get hammered just for the sake of it. Because if I was Brendan Rodgers, I'd be thinking the same. Right, let's jump into the comments and see what yous lot are saying in the comment section. We do have a poll going on tonight, which I haven't even spoke about. Do you think that Brendan Rodgers will walk after this season? On the back of this transfer window, 84% are now saying yes, they think he will. 16% are saying no. I think that I'm on the yes side now. If I was Brendan Rodgers, as much as I love the club, there is only... when you are the manager and you want to bring the best and you want the best for your team and you want to bring in the best players, but the hierarchy of the club are very reluctant to do so on an ongoing basis, I think that Brendan Rodgers will be 100% focused on the season ahead. Kieran Tierney has said, look, when it comes to speculation regarding the manager's position, it'll not even enter his head throughout the season. It'll be in the start of the season, working on small blocks, work on the blocks, get that done, win those blocks of games, take it to the next level, and just keep on progressing. And that's all that he'll ask for the players. And I think that this will be the season that Brendan Rodgers will stand at the end of the season and hopefully on the back end of a treble and speak to the fans and say that he's leaving on his own terms. And I think that would mean more to Brendan than anything. There is a bit of me that still wants him to sign a new contract, but the way that this board are acting now, I think that, and you know, I wouldn't mind if he just went, fuck this pish, man. Fuck it. What's the point? Because I think that it would do that to anyone. Is it automatic qualifications for the league winners this season? No, it's not. It will be a few years before we get back to automatic qualification. Anyway, there was talk about the teams that we could get. Let me just find that. Let me just see the qualifiers. No, because it was the rankings, potential playoffs. No. Where is it? There was a list of teams this morning that we could potentially get. It's only half time in some of these games, so it was just pure speculation. Anyway, do you think that Brendan Rodgers will walk after this season? 85% say yes, 15% say no, and there's 223 votes. And there's currently 303 people on, with over 950 people being on the live so far. Hail, guys, I think it's decline management. It's not decline management. The management will keep the same. I think there will be... We could be in for a shock in who Celtic may take on as their next manager. And it won't be a Celtic man, but he will have a Celtic man as number 2. We just need to wait and see. Anyway, there's a whole season to go. There's a whole season to go on. Cheers, Michelle. No, I thought you were sending something else. Explore. Where's that? Two seconds, I'm just checking something. No, can't find it. Transfers. There we go. Right, so the clubs that we could potentially get in the Champions League qualifier round are potentially the following clubs, and you know that this one's going to happen again. This one happened a few years ago, and I think that the irony of the current situation is, and I think that Celtic may end up at Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel in the Champions League qualifier. We played them before, and I know a lot of people that went over to that game, and people that were nothing to do with the Green Brigade, but they did go into Gaza at that point. That's one thing, you'll not be able to go into Gaza now. The next team is Slovan Bratislava. Celtic did beat Slovan Bratislava 5-1 in the beginning of the Champions League last season, so meeting them again wouldn't be such a bad thing. The next club that they could allegedly get in the next round, if the results go the right way, would be Basel with Albion Ayeti. Yes, remember him? And he is on fire for that club just now. He's a complete icon. But Basel did put us out of the Champions League 22 years ago. It was the same season that we went on to get to the UEFA Cup final. Sturm Graz of Austria is another name that could come out of the hat, as is FCSB, a Romanian team. So that is the number of clubs that we could potentially be playing. Let's just wait till the end of the week, and then we'll find out anyway. We'll find out on the Monday. When will the draw be for that? It'll be the Monday, or is it Friday? Is it Friday this week? I don't know. When is the Champions League games? No idea. Ajeti started at Basel. Yeah. They went into the West Bank, not Gaza. Well, I would stand corrected, Mo. No, I wasn't the West Bank. I'm sure. Well, maybe it was. No, it wasn't the Green Brigade lads. This wasn't the Green Brigade lads. This was... Don't know. I was asking him. We're better with Yeti than Ayeti. Momo Silla. 4th, I think someone said. What? Anyway. It was just a quick half-hour night tonight. I was going to stay on a bit longer. If we can get the vote to 250 votes, we're in 240. Do you think that Brendan Rodgers will walk after this season on the back of this transfer window? I think there is a possibility that he could. Should he? Is a completely different question. And you'd probably get a lot of people saying, you know what, yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to the season. I generally am looking forward to the season. I think it's going to be an interesting season with Brendan Rodgers bringing in the formation changes. We're not going to play the static 4-3-3 that he's played over the last 2 seasons, that were the same formation that was played by the previous manager. So changing it up to a 4-4-2, to a 3-2-3-1 formation. Had to think about that there. Jesus. It will be interesting to see how the SPFL adapts to our formation changes. Because we all seen it the last year. I mean, people would just sit with 5 at the back when it comes to playing Celtic. You've got one striker in the middle of the box, and you've got 2 wingers coming in and against 5, and it just didn't work out. You know, you had to go with pace, and when the pace didn't work out and they sat back and just didn't move, we struggled. And we were calling out for two strikers to be in the middle of the park for a long time last season. So it looks like we will get our way. The board won't allow Brendan to spend without his own commitment. Is that the case? The playoff round 4, August, next Monday. If we do qualify, we're unlikely to get a good as draw as last year. I'm not really worried, because when it's Champions League, it is at the big level, isn't it? It is at the big level. So anyway, right, that's us on 250 votes for that poll. Oh yeah, it was pish. Yeah, it was that. It was that. That's a question for another night. Anyway, that is me done and dusted for the evening. Maeda, Shin Yamada and Yang up front. Well, that would please Michelle, because she would then get her song out and played and hopefully sang by the Celtic fans. Big shout out to Michelle for penning this song for the Celtic fans. Hopefully, you never know, maybe the Green Brigade might pick it up and adapt it as one of their own. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely amazing evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.